Hi, I'm Captain Cinema, and as you know, it's Valentine's Day. Now, I might not come across as the most romantic person in the world, but I got you something very special for Valentine's Day. I got you some chocolates, got you a bouquet of flowers, and I got you this giant novelty oversized card that just states exactly how adorable things are. Isn't it adorable? There you go. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh my god, fake flowers? You couldn't even get me real ones? Dark chocolate? I like milk chocolate. Are you trying to make me fat? It's like you don't even hear anything I say. I hate pugs. I'm ready for a bowler. At least you had ambition. I wasn't doing
Just
an
a
internet
typical
show.
Valentine's Day for me. I'd like to call attention to one of the most underrated of all character actors. The character actor. You might not know their name, but you definitely know their face. And today I'd like to salute one character actor in particular, Ted Raimi.
Fighting with a little stick, writing wrongs and singing songs, being mighty all day long. He's Johnson, Johnson Almighty.
You see, Ted is the kid brother of director Sam Raimi, so it's very common for him to appear in his older brother's movies. Even though he lives in Sam's shadow, now I've been a fan of his since the days of Xena, and when I found out I had a chance to meet him, I found one of his most obscure movies. And you know it's obscure when even Ted Raimi realized what he was autographing and geeked out over it. Of course, this was 10 years ago. God, I look so different then. The only movies anyone would know him from would be the role of Hoffman from the original Spider-Man trilogy. He always played a geek, the outcast, the misfit, but he's never really been a leading man. But there are, however, 2 movies starring Ted Raimi. Skinner, where he plays a serial killer who wears people's skin, and Lunatics, a love story. Lunatics is the better of the 2, so let's take a look. I mean, it's not like there's any more of a reason to watch this movie.
Bruce Campbell, we're gonna be best friends. Gonna come to your house and watch Hercules in season 1.
Okay, so this movie centers around Hank, an agoraphobic man who suffers from delusions and paranoia.
Bruce Campbell.
To the point where he decorates his walls in tinfoil.
Another day.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly normal. Hank hasn't left his apartment in months due to his mental condition.
Does any of you know this Henry Stone in 206?
I live next door to him.
Well, when you see him, could you tell him to pick up his mail? This has got to be a month's worth right here.
4 months I live in here and I never see him.
At all?
Never. I know he's in there, 'cause I hear him screaming in the middle of the night.
His mom tries to coerce him to go to his brother's wedding.
Oh, look, you didn't come to his wedding. It would be very nice if you came to David's.
I'd really like to, but I don't think I can make it.
But Hank has to overcome his fears first. To Hank's credit, he actually makes attempts at trying to get himself better. And that's actually kind of admirable for his character. The neighborhood Hank lives in isn't the best. There's drug deals in broad daylight, and the little old lady from Drag Me to Hell. Across town, we meet Nancy, played by Valley Girl herself, Deborah Foreman.
Babe, come here, sweetie.
And her boyfriend Ray, played by
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, but you said...
But I said, come on, look, Wake up, will ya? I don't always mean everything that I say. If you knew me just a little bit, you'd know that. You know, you seem to think that everything that ever went wrong in history is your stinking fault.
Who rips her off and leaves her for another woman.
So, did you see the guy you wanted to see?
Yeah, come on, baby, let's bail.
Even when he's being a dick, he's awesome. The movie gets repetitive for a while when it's Nancy's problems, Hank's delusions. Nancy's problems, Hank's delusions. Aside from the repetition, we're treated to a late 80s, early 90s rap song, which is part of Hank's delusions. And damn it, if it isn't catchy.
The core in your brain is a cherry red. There's a crack in the reactor inside your head. When your vision and fusion do the whopping instead, yo man, you're having a nervous meltdown. I don't understand. It's nervous. Hey, it's nervous. Hey, it's nervous. Hey, it's nervous. It's nervous.
You get the money you owe me?
Where would I have gotten it between then and now?
When Nancy realizes she's been robbed, she runs out. Back in those days, you didn't need a credit card to check into a motel. But she's paying $75 for 3 nights. That's actually a really good deal. Last time I checked, it was $40 for a 4-hour nap. Or so I hear. While on the street, Nancy ends up encountering the local gang, who's only interested in one thing. Even though she's terrified, she manages to fend off her would-be attackers. Hank, being lonely, calls a phone sex number that accidentally calls the phone booth where Nancy is hiding.
If I want a girl, I'll just call for one. Future is now.
Hello?
Hi!
What do you want?
Girl, I guess.
One to love me?
Through some convincing, she agrees to go to his apartment. That and she needs to hide out from the gang.
I don't know you.
While at Hank's home, Nancy's nervous, and rightfully so. But then again, so is Hank. Hank is actually a generous host, and the two engage in awkward small talk, and they have a chemistry. They actually start to hit it off.
Go on, ask me something.
Oh. But, well,
can you hammer a 6-inch spike through a board with your penis?
poetry.
I love poetry. I write poetry.
Do you really?
Yes.
So do I.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Get out of town. You don't write poetry.
I do.
He even goes so far as to let her read one of his poems. He obviously really likes her.
Dark and lonely on the summer night. Kill my landlord. Kill my landlord. The watchdog barking. Do he bite? Kill my landlord. Kill my landlord. Slip in his window. Break his neck. Then his house I start to wreck. Got no reason. What the heck? Kill my landlord. Kill my landlord. C-I-L-L. My landlord.
Everything seems to be going well until Hank has one of his episodes and accidentally knocks Nancy out.
Now don't fight me, Hank. This is for your own good. Just hold still.
Hank? Hank?
Domestic violence is no laughing matter, and this isn't funny. However, it does move the plot forward, so please, no hate mail. When she comes to, she almost shoots Hank. I wouldn't blame her if she did. But no, she was having a nightmare about the gang leader, and that's what set her off.
No!
Where am I?
Don't shoot!
Fearing that she might actually hurt Hank, Nancy decides to leave.
What? Why?
Well, I almost just killed you.
I don't mind.
I mind.
If you leave, I'll never see you again.
You don't want to get mixed up with me.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. I don't want to get mixed up with you, okay? I've got enough troubles of my own without all of yours.
What troubles? I'm the happiest kid in the world.
You won't even face the truth, and that's your worst trouble.
Don't go. Please.
I can't. No.
Lunatic!
Knowing that Nancy is in some form of trouble, he decides to put his own fears aside and come to her rescue. Can Hank fight off his demons? Will Nancy escape the gang? Will they end up happily ever after? Mental health now is a serious subject, and rightfully so. But back in the 80s, this movie had a different vibe to it. Yes, it was released in 1991, but it was finished in 1989, still making it an 80s movie. The movie is a product of the times, making Hank out as a complete weirdo, but he's actually likable. He's also traumatized by his time at the hospital, which adds to his mental health issues. Nancy feels that she's carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, and she suffers a traumatic experience, so of course she's not fully cognitive of what's happening. She's just a little overwhelmed by being in a series of emotionally abusive relationships. Ray is just a narcissist. But he's played by Bruce Campbell!
I wonder what Nancy's up to.
It doesn't portray mental health in a completely positive light, but both Hank and Nancy have major breakthroughs and show great character development. Because this was directed by Josh Becker, who was part of the original Evil Dead series, it's filmed like a horror movie. And because the music was done by Joseph Loduca, the music becomes a character. If mental health had a soundtrack, this would be it. It's obscure even for obscure movies. It's not a good movie, but it's an entertaining one with some decent special effects and decent atmosphere. If you find it, check it out, but only if you're a diehard Bruce Campbell fan. Now, if it was filmed like a horror movie, wouldn't it make sense to market it towards the horror crowd? I mean, if it were a horror movie, it might be a little bit better. That's just my opinion.
Murders, killings, homicides. It's a jungle out there.
You don't know me. If you got to know me, you wouldn't like me.
Hi, I'm Tony. You might know me as Captain Cinema. And from time to time, if you follow me on Instagram, you're aware of the amazing burgers that I post. But I have a special guest with me here. We're going to unveil a brand new show. My special guest?
I can't wait for you to see Burger Shenanigans Burger on Trash TV streaming.
Burger Shenanigans coming soon to Trash TV.